The real reason Keanu Reeves couldn't marry Alexandra Grant. For years, they've been the quiet, steady Hollywood romance that everyone is rooting for. Keanu Reeves, the internet's beloved and eternally
soulful superstar, and Alexandra Grant, the accomplished, silver-haired artist who finally seemed to capture his heart. They just look right together. He's happy, she's happy, and engagement rumors have been flying, especially after a stunning diamond ring was
spotted on her finger as recently as June 2025. So, what's the holdup? Why? After years of what looks like a deeply committed and loving partnership, have they still not walked down the aisle? The question has sparked endless speculation online, but the answer probably isn't in some tabloid headline. To understand what might be happening, we have to look at a story of deep-seated grief and a tragic past that casts a long
shadow. A shadow that could make it incredibly difficult for Keanu Reeves to ever say, "I do." We're exploring the possible real reason Keanu Reeves might not be able to marry Alexandra Grant. A different kind of Hollywood love story. First, to get what the conflict might be, you have to get the connection. The story of Keanu and Alexandra isn't your
typical celebrity whirlwind. It didn't start at an A-list party. It started with art, books, and a friendship that lasted a decade. They first met at a dinner party back in 2009, long before romance was in the picture. Their first project together was a book in 2011 called Ode to Happiness, which Grant lovingly called a private gift for Keanu. It paired his thoughtful,
melancholic words with her whimsical drawings, a perfect testament to their creative spark. They worked together again on another book, Shadows, in 2016, and even started a small publishing press, Artists Books, in 2017. This was a bond built on mutual respect and a shared passion for art. A source told People magazine, "Keanu wants to openly share his life with her. He is extremely happy and
grateful to have Alex in his life." Friends confirmed they had been quietly dating for years before they finally made their public debut, hand in hand, at the LACMA Art Plus Film Gala in November 2019. The world was immediately captivated. After decades of seeing Keanu as Hollywood's most solitary star, this was a huge moment, and Alexandra Grant wasn't a typical Hollywood girlfriend. She was an acclaimed
artist in her own right, confident, age-appropriate, and with a powerful presence that was both independent and a perfect match for his. Grant herself has talked about their dynamic with real grace. She once described their connection as interdependent and independent in the best ways. She told People magazine, "The good news about
falling in love as an adult is that I had built my own career by the time that my relationship had begun. I feel very confident in the relationship on the red carpet. I feel confident on it alone. This wasn't one person being swallowed by another's fame. This was a partnership of equals." She's even said that since their
relationship began, her own artwork has become happier, calling Keanu such an inspiration for his kindness and creativity. On the surface, it's a perfect match. They share passions, they champion each other's work, and they seem to have a mature, grounded love that's incredibly rare. Sources have even called it the most fun and positive relationship Keanu has ever been in. So if the
love is so obvious, what could be holding him back? To find the answer, we have to look much further back, to a chapter in Keanu's life, so devastating it has shaped everything since. The unending grief of Keanu Reeves. Before Alexandra Grant, there was Jennifer Syme. In 1998, Keanu met and fell deeply in love with Syme, an aspiring actress. They were young, in love, and starting a life
together. Soon, they were joyfully expecting their first child, a daughter they planned to name Ava. But on Christmas Eve, 1999, just a month before the due date, tragedy struck. Their daughter, Ava, was stillborn. The loss was catastrophic, and the weight of their shared grief was too much for the relationship. The couple broke up shortly after. They stayed close friends, but fate wasn't finished. Just 16 months later, in,
April 2001, Jennifer Syme was killed in a car accident. She was only 28 years old. Keanu, who had just lost his daughter, now had to bury the woman he had loved and shared that child with. He was a pallbearer at her funeral, a haunting picture of a man carrying an impossible burden.
This series of tragedies seemed to fundamentally change Keanu. For the next 2 decades, he became a symbol of quiet resilience, but also of a deep, profound loneliness. He rarely spoke about the loss, but its effects were clear. In a rare, heartbreaking comment to Parade magazine in 2006, he offered a glimpse into his pain, saying, "Grief changes shape, but it never ends." He went on, "People have a
misconception that you can deal with it and say, it's gone, and I'm better. They're wrong. When the people you love are gone, you're alone. Think about those words. When the people you love are gone, you're alone. For Keanu, the ultimate expression of love, starting a family, was met with the ultimate pain. His greatest hope became tangled with his deepest trauma. This isn't just a sad story. It's an
emotional wound that has never fully healed, and it could understandably create fear and hesitation when thinking about a commitment like marriage. It's a level of trauma that's almost impossible to imagine. Do you think a tragedy like that can ever truly be overcome in a new relationship? Let us know what you think in the comments. And before we get into our final analysis, make sure you're subscribed with
notifications on so you don't miss our next story. The psychology of a guarded heart. To really try and understand why Keanu Reeves might not marry Alexandra Grant, we have to look at the potential psychology at play. When someone goes through a trauma that specific, losing a child and a partner back to back, it can build powerful, subconscious walls around their heart, the very things
that symbolize joy for most people. Marriage, family, are forever tied to his greatest loss. Psychologists talk about the fear of future loss. When you've already lived through the worst-case scenario, your brain's natural instinct is to protect you from ever feeling that pain again. One way to avoid the pain of losing a
spouse or child is to never have one. This isn't a cold, logical choice. It's a deep primal defense mechanism forged in tragedy. For 20 years, the world watched this play out. Keanu became Hollywood's quintessential loner, while other stars had public marriages and
families. Keanu's romantic life was kept behind a closed door. He dated, of course, but it always seemed to be with a privacy that kept true commitment at a distance. His life was full, with his career, his band, and close friends, but the roles of husband and father were painfully vacant. Then, Alexandra Grant came along. She represents something new, hope, the confidence and
happiness she's clearly brought him suggest a powerful, healing kind of love. It seems she isn't asking him to forget his past, but to build a new future right alongside it. But this is where the conflict lies. Opening your heart to that kind of love also means opening yourself up to the risk of that kind of loss all over again. For Keanu, making Alexandra his wife wouldn't just be about a piece of paper. It
would mean placing her in the exact role that is tied to so much tragedy in his mind. That's a massive psychological hurdle to clear, no matter how deep his love is. The real reason revealed. So what is the real reason Keanu Reeves hasn't yet married Alexandra Grant? By all public accounts, as of August 2025, they are still a happy,
committed couple. The issue has nothing to do with a lack of love, and certainly nothing to do with any typical Hollywood drama. The real reason might be that grief is a ghost that never truly leaves. The hesitation may not be a rejection of Alexandra, but a deep-seated protection of her and of himself. The trauma he
endured could have created a story in his mind. Profound love can lead to profound loss. To get married would be to challenge that story head-on. It would mean standing up to the worst moments of his life and daring to believe that this time the ending could be different. This internal conflict could also explain the constant rumors. In 2025,
reports began to surface that the two were secretly engaged, with some insiders suggesting they might just elope to avoid the stress of a big wedding. This fits perfectly with the idea of a man who loves his partner, but might be terrified of the institution of marriage itself. A public ceremony loaded with traumatic memories, the diamond ring
Alexandra has been seen wearing since April 2025 adds another layer to this theory. It could be a symbol of a private commitment they've made to each other, one that exists outside the formal contract of marriage. It might be their way of saying, "I am yours," without stirring up the ghosts of the past. So, the sabotage, if you want to call it that, likely isn't coming from outside the relationship. It's an internal struggle. It's Keanu's own grief that may be the final barrier to the altar.
Alexandra's strength seems to be in her ability to love a man who is navigating an emotional world few can even imagine. She has built a life with him that respects his past, a partnership that is, as she said, interdependent and independent in the best ways. She may not need the title of wife, and he may not be able to give it, not because he
doesn't want to, but because the emotional cost is just too high. The love story of Keanu Reeves and Alexandra Grant isn't a simple fairy tale. It's a mature connection built on friendship, art, and deep respect. But it's also a story that exists in the shadow of an incredible tragedy. While fans keep looking for a ring and listening for wedding bells, they might be missing the bigger picture. There is no evidence of a
split. In fact, all signs point to a lasting, loving partnership. The real story isn't about if they'll break up, but about whether a love this strong can finally quiet the ghosts of the past. The real reason Keanu Reeves hasn't married Alexandra Grant isn't some big secret, but a quiet human truth. It's about the lifelong impact of grief on a man who lost everything, and his brave, cautious journey to find love again. Maybe their
happiness doesn't need a marriage certificate. Maybe the quiet, supportive partnership they've already built is the happy ending. It's a testament to Alexandra's strength and Keanu's resilience that they've found so much joy together, titles or not. Theirs is a love story that challenges our ideas of commitment and proves that sometimes the deepest love isn't about a wedding, but about the quiet choice to stand by someone.
Shadows and all, what do you think is next for Keanu and Alexandra? Will love be enough to overcome his past? Or is their partnership already perfect as it is? Share your thoughts one last time in the comments. Thanks for watching. And for more stories behind the stars, make sure to subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Dear friends, all the information is taken from online.